Well, it's Friday, and you all know what that means. As you know, we continue more with WrestleMania week, but however, we're going to keep this to a minimum as possible due to the fact there's a lot of wrestling happening throughout this entire week on WrestleMania week. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to be reviewing Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. So, we got some excellent matches taking place. We got, of course, the inaugural ROH Women's World Television Champion. The Television title is defended. Tag team titles, the trios titles, and of course the world title as well. And then we move on with AEW Rampage with some interesting matches that are taking place. We do have an Eliminator match for the international title and plenty other more stuff. And then of course we move on to find out who's going to level up on this latest episode of NXT Level Up. And then we're going to have some different things going on in our news update section. We do have one where TNA has announced a signee, and I think many of you are going to like this one. And of course, some interesting developments in the world of pro wrestling coming from the Wrestling Observer reports. And then, of course, an interesting Joshi wrestler has announced an unexpected leave of absence that I think many of you will be surprised or don't know what they're going to think. But I'm going to say it anyway until we get there. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers matches and championships. I am your host, Jay Rayer. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed upon. We also do the United Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and various other cool things on this channel as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions are set aside. I believe it's time to get the show on the road with our very first review, and this is from Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. Okay, as we begin with Supercard of Honor, with by Ring of Honor itself, we're gonna start with the 0 hour matches. Our first match, we have the return of the premier athletes more consistently with Tony Nese, James Woods, and Ari Davari. Now we haven't seen these guys in a long time as I can remember, but it seems like they made them more redefined than we expected. So their opponents are none other than Adam Priest, uh, Rhett Titus, and of course Tony Deppen. This was a very interesting match because I think many of us were wondering. So this was more like designed to show the premier athletes are now back in full force, back better than ever after who knows how long they've been gone. But it was, of course, Tony Nese that picked up the win by pinning Tony Deppen after a very awesome combo by all three men. So that gives the premier athletes the dub. Now, continuing with more with the 0 hour, we have the Beast Mortos better known as back in the day as Black Tarus. As you know, he had to change his name due to the situation that AAA owns that name, so it's very understandable. He faces against Blake Christian. Um, I think this was a very interesting match to introduce. Of course, Beast Mortos as this new character, but much meaner, much more vicious than he was in the past. But it played out pretty well as well. He applied his move. I don't know what he called it back in the day, but it was a pump handled pile driver, as Ian Riccaboni pointed out, picking up the win. But in the post match, we saw Commander made out of nowhere along with Alex Brahamantes. Now, I don't know what was the main reason, but it seems like maybe there's the chances of seeing those two um, have a tango in the ring. So we will see what happens until we get there. Now, our next match, this is a match between two teams that have been at each other for quite some time. Griff Garrison and Cole Carter. They take on a Spanish announce project consisting of Angelico and Serpentico. Now, this match was something that was tricked upon by Serpentico to make this happen. So basically, it did. Of course, Maria was going to get involved, but apparently, like the old saying goes, she got her hand in the cookie jar. She was ejected. But however, Griff Garrison later on removed the mask of Serpentico, and then Cole Carter rolled him up with the tights, and just like that, it's over. I don't know if this feud is going to still keep on going, but it's going to be very interesting to see. Now, our next match, we have Momo Kogo versus Mariah May. These two ladies are no strangers to each other. Now, those who don't know, if you guys ever follow Stardom, back in the day, Mariah May was unhappy with the fact that Momo Kogo was assigned to be guest commentator in the English commentating booth during last year's All Star Queendom. And Mariah May felt like she's the one who should be there. And Momo Kogo hasn't forgotten, and of course, Momo has been humiliated by Mariah May, calling her a loser. And I thought Momo would have gotten a better at her, but no, Mariah May got the best at her, even when she knocked her out with the knee strike, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, we begin with our main card of Supercard of Honor. Our first one is the Ring of Honor World Television title. Lee Johnson versus Kyle Fletcher. Oh my God, this match was unbelievable. Like, you would have assumed that we could see Lee Johnson pick up his first title. I thought it would have been that great to see him finally win a title. But man, he took every blow that Kyle Fletcher throws at him. And he even did the hammerlock power driver, even the power driver himself, and that did not take any effect. But it did took a twisted brainbuster on the top corner buckle by Kyle Fletcher to put away Lee Johnson and retain the belt. Now, our next match, I think many of you are excited for this one. We have a Stardom Showcase match in Ring of Honor. Now, it's no secret that Ring of Honor and Stardom had a great relationship in the past. We have Tam Nakano teaming up with the members of Queen's Quest, Saya Kamitani and Azumi. They take on Mei Sira and the co-leaders of EXV, Maika and Mina Shirakawa. Now, the team captains that were chosen in this match was Mina Shirakawa and Azumi. And of course, it was a pretty good match. Many people are praising Mina because, as you know, people believe that Mina should be a much bigger star internationally, and they're not wrong. And of course, the moment is when Mina once again tangled with Saya Kamitani. Is no secret about their past. We don't need to get deep in that one that much, but it was Mina with the figure four leg driver onto Kamitani to pick up the win. And then here comes Mariah May. I don't know what she was planning to do, but she brought up like some bottle of wine and they got all drunky stuff like that. But we'll see what happens. But I hate to see Mariah May get caught in the middle of this because she has to choose. And I wouldn't be surprised that if Mariah May gets caught in the middle between Mina Shirakawa and Toni Storm, that's going to be a little interesting storyline to put upon. Now, our next match, we have the ROH World Tag Team titles. Now, remember, at the Honor Club show, Infantry won. Infantry ended up in a time limit draw after initially announcing that they will be getting a tag team title match, which they did. And of course the Undisputed Kingdom were disappointed that they did not stop them in their tracks. But the match was pretty great. I mean, you would have assumed, even though the Taven and Bennett experienced wrestlers would have been the real deal, but however, this match would have fallen in favor to the Infantry if it wasn't for um, Taven taking out um, Bravo outside the ring with the table, distracting the ref, giving enough time for Warlow to attack Sean Dean, and just like that, Bennett pinned Dean and retained the belt, which is really messed up. Even though Warlow was given barking orders to by Adam Cole to protect every title in, of course, in Ring of and in the Undisputed Kingdom. So we'll see what happens. I just hope someone loses their belts. Our next match is for the inaugural ROH Women's World Television title. We have Billy Starks taking on Queen Aminata. I thought this match was pretty great. I think it was a really interesting introduction for a brand new title in the women's division in ROH. But however, what we thought would have been a much simpler match turned into a match of deception. Billy Starks pretended to be hurt, and then she choked out Queen Aminata. Now, Queen Aminata did not give up. She did not tap, but the ref had no other choice but to call it, and everybody were lost to words, realizing that Billy has defiled the code of honor by cheating her way through. You probably would think that she was desperate, knowing that she wasn't going to win, but sooner or later, Queen Aminata will get her revenge on Billy Starks and obtain that belt. That is something that could happen down the line for her. Like the old saying goes, what comes around, goes around. Now, the Bullet Club Gold showed up and issued an open challenge for their ROH six-man tag team titles. And then the people who responded to that is Lance Archer and Alex Zane, better known as um, Monster Sauce. But however, of course, Bullet Club Gold said there's only two of you, but apparently Lance Archer reached out to someone from his past, someone who he's been close, and that is none other than the king, Minoru Suzuki. And of course, Minoru Suzuki knows Jay White all too well. You see, he remembers him as a young boy, but Jay White will always be a young boy to him. That's always been the real deal. Now, you would think that this match was going to be very interesting, but somehow the Bullet Club Gold, more specifically Jay White, was able to apply the Blade Runner as soon as possible on Alex Zane in order to retain the belt. However, Minoru Suzuki was not happy how things turned out, but it is what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if Minoru Suzuki will get his revenge, but only time will tell. Our next match is a fight without honor match. Now, those who are not familiarized with this type of match, let me explain. There have been wrestlers in the past who have no honor because they think that, it's all about what they want. So, this was a match between both Johnny TV and Dalton Castle. Now, this dates back when the ROH World Television title was up for grabs. Dalton Castle was attempting to win this thing. However, Johnny TV feels that a title like that doesn't deserve to be for someone like Dalton Castle. It was meant for him. But however, they've been punking each other ever since. So you would think that this match, of course, Johnny TV has his wife, Tail Valkyrie, to be by his side to ensure this match goes to him. But all of a sudden, we saw the boys, brand new boys, to help out, of course, Dalton Castle. But however, while Dalton Castle was getting manhandled by Johnny TV, another boy showed up, and it turned out to be none other than Stingray, Paul Walter Hauser. So he was there to help Dalton Castle. But the funny thing is, the boys took away Tel Valkyrie. But of course, Paul Walter Hauser showed up and gave a bag of thumbtacks to Dalton Castle, and then he applied the batarang onto him. 1, 2, 3. It's over. Just like that. Now, our next match is the ROH Women's World Title. Hikaru Shida versus Athena. Man, this match was so intense and so brutal. Now, we know that Athena for months has been complaining, about wanting better competition. I think Hikaru Shida really pulled every stop as possible. And practically, that's exactly what Hikaru Shida was due. I mean, I would have loved to see Hikaru Shida win this match because she would have been the first woman within the AEW company to hold both top titles in ROH and AEW, but unfortunately Athena applied the Eclipse in order to retain her belt. Now, our next match is a very important match and of course a very special match for all of us. As you know, it's been almost 11 years to this day. Jay Briscoe, may him rest in peace, won the ROH title on this particular day. He becomes the ROH World Champion. But the question does tell, will Mark Briscoe step in and do the honorable thing to win this match, not only for himself, but for his brother, for his family, and their families, and so on and so on? Or will Eddie Kingston remain supreme to show what he's all about? I thought this match was so intensified. There was no holdbacks in this match. But you would think, no matter what, Jay Briscoe is looking down on his brother, telling him, "Come on, Mark, you can do this." And of course, Mark applied the infamous Jay Driller, and just like that, he becomes our brand new ROH World Champion. And of course, the entire locker room, those who were close to the Briscoes, arrived to congratulate him. And I think it was a very emotional moment for him. And I'm sure Jay Briscoe, looking down from the heavens, proud of his little brother finally becoming champion. And I'm sure Mark Briscoe will make his big brother proud. And I feel that he's finally out of that shadow, but he will carry on the family name. And I think many of us who have seen Mark Briscoe, we will be there to support him. I know I will. I know some of you will. So we'll see what the future holds. And I cannot wait to see who will be the lucky person to step up. So until then, this is how we end things with our ROH review. Let's move on with AEW Rampage. Okay, AEW Rampage. Our first match, we have Malachi Black versus Christopher Daniels. Now, Christopher Daniels issued the challenge on Dynamite, and of course, Malachi Black, of course, was going to accept it. He's not afraid of him. He's not too, how do I say this, too shy from it. But of course, Buddy Matthews was going to be in tow to help him out. He tried to get involved in this match, but luckily Daniels knew that was going to happen, so he took him out. Now, you would think that Daniels would pull every stop possible to pick up the win, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case in this match. It was, of course, the infamous Black Mass. I don't know what he call it. I think he call it the end. It was the real factor that put away Daniels and allowing for Malachi Black to pick up the win. Now, our next match is an Eliminator match for the AEW International title. Roderick Strong takes on a local wrestler in Canada, London Lightning, who we have already seen recently. Of course, this was going to be an interesting match. I have to say, London Lightning really was impressive. But however, Taven and Bennett of the Undisputed Kingdom tried to get involved. And then Warlow even got himself involved too. To ensure that this title does not go anywhere, it stays with the United Empire. The Undisputed Kingdom. We will see what happens until then. Sorry about that. I keep comparing the United Kingdom and the Undisputed Kingdom, or the United Empire. I don't know why. Forget it. Anyway, let's move on. We do see a little interview with Layla Hirsch. Now, it's been a while since we've seen her in AEW. We know this past year she has been in ROH. She has been picking up some wins. So she called out Julia Hart and telling her that she would like to be part of the open house rules match for the TBS title. Now, Julia Hart did responded a little later about that, and of course, she was surprised that someone called her out, so she is granting her this open house rules. However, she did warn her that the house will always wins. Now, our next match, we have Serena Deeb versus Trish Adora. I mean, Serena Deeb has been very impressive since she came back. You would think there was going to be a lot of things taking place, and it did. Um, I mean, Serena Deeb, as you know, she is a master technician. She's a technical wrestler that played out, but however, she did the Serenity Lock, and just like that, she wins the match. Now we do see Alex Marvez applied an interview with Saraya, Harley Cameron, and Zack Knight. Apparently, this feud between Ruby Soho and Cool Edge has not becoming escalated, so we will see when those two will take place. But at the moment, we'll see about that. Now, our next match, we have a four-way match. We have Daniel Garcia versus Brian Keith versus Action Andretti and Commander. Now, you know this match was going to be impressive. There'll be some interesting moments, especially where we see guys like Commander, Action Andretti do their high flying. Brian Keith, man, he's amazing. But Daniel Garcia, who has been on a roll with some good matches along the way, so that was going to be the factor. But however, I like the idea how this match ended with, of course, Action Andretti and Daniel Garcia, but Garcia was the one who picked up with the leg hook onto Action Andretti, forcing him to tap out. And 1, 2, 3, he'll be and he won the match. However, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes after Adam Copeland for his title. I mean, that would be not far off. But we will see what happens until we get there. But for now, we're done with AEW. Let's move on with our last and final review, NXT Level Up. Okay, so who levels up on this latest episode of NXT Level Up? Let's find out. Our first match, we have Dante Chen, the supposed gatekeeper, taking on Drake Maramux. Now, this guy Drake, we have seen him before on NXT Level Up, where he teamed up with Big Body Javi. Of course, this match was going to be interesting with Drake. I mean, I feel we don't know him that very well. Dante Chen, we know he hasn't been racking up some good wins recently, but luckily he was able to pull it off today when he applied the finisher on him, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. Now, earlier in the week, we did see a little situation take place. OTM, as you know, haven't forgotten the embarrassment that they suffered in the hands of Javon Evans, who made a name for himself by defeating Scripps. However, luckily Evans had some backup. He had, of course, Tariq Igwe and, of course, Tyson DuPont. So that's going to be our main event. Now, our next match, we have Tatum Paxley taking on Brinley Reese. Nothing too significant on this one, but however, we know that Tatum Paxley wants to rack up some wins, and she applied the Psycho Trap onto Brinley Reese and picked up the win. Now, our main event is OTM Scripps, Lucian Price, Bronco Lima taking on Tyson DuPont, Tariq Iwe, and of course, Javon Evans. Now, Javon Evans was a straight shooter, wants to get his hands on Scripps for getting involved again. But however, this match got out of control after the distraction from Jada Parker, but it did allow for of course, Lima and Price to do a double move onto DuPont, and just like that, it was over. But you know that this feud between those two seems like it's not going to be over until someone gets the better at each other. But we will see where that one rolls up. But for right now, I think we're done with all the reviews and move on with our news updates. Okay, so we got our news updates here. So let's talk about now. There will be no updates on the promotional events. We'll just do the best we can what we get for all of you. Now, TNA has recently announced that Jonathan Gresham has signed with them. So this is very interesting. Now, we haven't seen Jonathan Gresham recently, but I did review that he was part of a video segment where he was like in some sort of therapy. So it's great that he signed with TNA. Can't wait to see more of him. Don't know what plans do they have for him, but we will see what happens until then. Now, for some interesting developments, we do have two from the Revolver Report. The first one is from a wrestler we have seen recently, Kendall Gray, and goes by a real name, Peyton Bruson. As you know, she was very impressive on NXT Level Up last week. However, the Wrestling Observer mentioned this and talked about her, and this is what they said. Another person who hasn't made TV who's getting strong reviews is Kendall Gray, real name Peyton Prusen, who won her last 61 matches at a college wrestler for NAIA Life University, where she was three-time NRA national champion. So yes, she is an amateur wrestler, and it looks like people are praising her and all that, and it's great that she's getting that type of recognition. However, we will see what happens until then. Now, continuing more with the Wrestling Observer report, as you know, Rossi Ogawa and Julia are currently in Philly. Wrestling Observer reports this that Rossi and Julia are in Philadelphia attending WWE events this weekend. Right now, there is no deal between Ogawa and W, but they are expected to be talking. Now, that is something we could expect. Now, the last time Rossi and WWE had this deal between them was a couple years ago before Bushiroad was purchased from Stardom Bushiroad purchased Stardom. Now, some of you already say, why did Rossi did it? Simple. Let me give you guys a quick recap about that. Rossi Ogawa was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame in order to seal the deal. But however, Rossi discovered that WWE were intending to dismantle Stardom and set up a foothold. But Rossi backed down out of the deal not because he wanted to. He was concerned for the well-being of his wrestlers not losing their jobs. He's always has that knack of being a father to his girls, and that is very common. So I don't know, in my opinion, if Rossi will take another deal with them. Now, wrestling observers believe that could happen. I mean, it could, but it all depends on Rossi. That's his choice. I cannot say that he should do it. I know some of you may say Rossi should do it, but like I said, that's Rossi's choice. I'm sure Rossi learned from his mistake, but I'm not sure exactly what kind of deal WWE will have. I'm sure that they will want to have a working relationship with them since they tried with Stardom. It was a no-go, and now we're seeing Stardom with AEW, but we'll see. Now, our last development here, this was a very interesting one. If you guys are familiarized with this Joshi wrestler name, Ibuki Hoshi. Ibuki Hoshi is a wrestler who I watched. Her mother, Hamuko Ibushi, is a veteran wrestler. Apparently, she has made a very interesting announcement today during well, right now it should be Saturday in Japan. It was on a Friday during an Ice Ribbon show. Now, this is what she had to say. As I announced recently, Ibuki Hoshi will be absent for an extended period of time. In fact, I received a new life in my belly, meaning she's pregnant. So it surprised everyone, and there were not a lot of matches already scheduled, so I had a professional. I felt very sorry, to be honest. I was very confused, but when I saw the echo photo, I realized once again how precious life within me, and I decided to become a mother. The Ice Infinity belt that I had continued protect with great care will return due to my absence. I would like to sincerely apologize to all the fans, for those involved with the promotion, everyone who has defended the title against and everyone who has aiming to challenge me. But I have come back. But when I come back, I'll definitely get this belt. To all the Ice Ribbon fans who always supported me, I was loved by everyone as Amuko Oshi's daughter, even before my debut. And it's all thanks to you that I was able to continue as a champion even after my debut at the age of 14. I will definitely come back and look forward to your continued support. So, first things first, I want to say congratulations to Ibuki Hoshi. I know it's very interesting that at a young age to be pregnant. I think she's in her mid 20s, I'm sure. Um, and now her mom, who's also a wrestler, is now going to be called Grandma. So, congratulations to that too. Uh, but it's very understandable if she is pregnant and she wants to make sure her baby is born healthy. It's understandable. Um, I haven't heard yet what Tsukasa Fujimoto has to say. I mean, she was very close to her when she was a little girl, so I'm sure we will hear from her. But I hope she does come back, and they say they will crown a brand new Ice Infinity champion on April 28th. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that. So I think that's pretty much it. What we have for our news updates. As again, I said it again. Congratulations, Ibuki Hoshi. I'm sure you will be a good mom, and I'm sure, hopefully, we do see a third generation wrestler in the family. So I say right now, let's just move on and stay. Let's call it a day. Okay, now, for our next episode, as you know, there's going to be a very, very tight ship due to the fact we got a lot of wrestling happening. So, as we speak, we should be having the New Japan Sakura Genesis coming up soon. Probably will be reviewing that. There is a new Choco Pro show. I'll probably do that. I haven't seen the much recent GCW shows like Bloodsport or JCW versus the World, and so on and so on. I'm still waiting for Tokyo Shoe Pro for the Philly show. I heard a lot of things happen on that, but at the moment, we will see what happens until then. But for right now, I will see you guys on the next episode. So I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye and have a nice day. Bang.